It was a symbolic act for a team that hoped to wash away the memories of every ghost who ever dressed in Giant colors. 1963 marked the last time the Giants played in the championship. Thoughts of Y.A. Tittle, Frank Gifford, and head coach Allie Sherman still lingered. Against the Bears that year, New York played valiantly but lost 14-10. A much different ending from their very first championship victory many, many years before.
I think the game that in all the years that really sticks in my memory as a whole game is our championship game with the Bears in 1934. Bears had a great team. I think they came in undefeated. Bronco Nagurski was at his prime.
Bronco, with the style he had of running, with his shoulders not too far from the ground. He was a tall man, about 6'2" and 220. And if you tackle him low, he'd trample you to death. If you tackle him high, he'd carry you 10 yards.
At halftime, I believe we were down by 13-3, and we were pretty well beaten. The field was absolutely frozen. Ray Flaherty, who was our captain and an assistant coach, had come from Gonzaga University in Spokane, and he remembered that in one of his college games, his team had worn sneakers on a frozen field, giving them a great advantage. We couldn't find a sporting goods store in New York that was open. We had an assistant clubhouse man named Abe Cohen with us, who also worked for Manhattan College. We put him in a taxi cab and sent him up to Manhattan College to get the shoes for the basketball team, the sneakers for the basketball team.
Just before the second half started, he had 12 pairs of the largest sneakers he could find, so we put them on.
And we could see him putting on tennis shoes in there. Well, we thought, oh, heck, that's foolish. That's not going to help them. We're going to walk all over their feet. Right away, we sensed something was wrong because they had good footing, and we didn't have good footing. And we were slipping and sliding around, and they were running all over us. And they started just piling up yardage and getting in position, and they ended up beating us 30-13. They just outsmarted us, I guess. That was about the size of it. It was legal. There was nothing wrong with it.
But I remember during that game, George Hallis would come out on the field, and he'd look at those sneakers and just shake his head, walk off grumbling.
In the first round of the playoffs, the Giants needed no special shoes, but the 49ers could have used form-fitting gloves.
Montana looking right, swing pass. Rice has got it to 40, 35, 30. He's going to go. He dropped the ball. Knocked out of his hand. He picks it up near the goal line. Lost it again. Giants have it.
Well, they need a big play. They did get it.
This squandered opportunity early in the game devastated San Francisco, and they never recovered from the shock. The Giants battered the deflated Niners, holding them to under 200 yards and forcing 4 turnovers, while piling up the third most lopsided playoff win in NFL history. New York knocked quarterback Joe Montana out of the game and made life miserable for backup Jeff Kent. The Niners, boasting the NFC's #1 offense, were simply overmatched. While the walls caved in on San Francisco, Phil Simms' pass protection was near perfect. Behind the blocking of Benson, Ard, Oates, Godfrey, and Nelson, the Giant quarterback had all the time he needed to pick the 49ers apart. The Giants' first score of the day came from a familiar passing combination.
Simms is looking for a target. Simms, end zone, touchdown Bavaro!
Simms threw a second touchdown pass to Bobby Johnson and entrusted ball-carrying duties to Joe Morris. During the regular season, the Niners held Joe to only 14 yards. They weren't as successful this time.
Pitch in the backfield of Morris coming left across the line of scrimmage. Gonna go! Touchdown!
Morris had over 100 yards rushing well before halftime, and New York inflicted further damage when a field goal attempt suddenly transformed into a trick play engineered by holder Jeff Rutledge. The flustered 49ers were powerless to stop a completion to Mark Bavaro that set up yet another New York touchdown. Phil Simms made history by becoming the first Giant quarterback to throw for 4 touchdowns in a playoff game. And even the defense contributed to the avalanche of points.
Montana inside the 10, throws wildly. Intercepted. There goes Taylor down to the 20. 10, touchdown.
LT, way to go.
Joe Morris' second touchdown of the day closed out the biggest playoff scoring spree in team annals. Having seen their heroes pour on the points, the fans now awaited the victory shower that was sure to cascade on Coach Bill Parcells. The Niners were finished. Ahead lay the conference championship and a familiar and dangerous foe. A Giant celebration was near, with the champagne put on ice.
Look out, Parcells.
For the third time in the same season, the Giants would face the Redskins, this one for the NFC crown. It was showtime.
Showtime! Showtime, baby! It's showtime, baby! Showtime! This is the one you work for all your life right here, okay? Just sprint your tail down the field and make the tackle inside the 20. All right, let's go!
New York was as overwhelming as the Meadowlands wind, storming to a 17-0 halftime lead.
Come on, Phil, keep it down, keep it down.
Takes the handoff to Rusan. Sims looking end zone. He's going to run. Lobs it. Complete touchdown. Lionel Manuel. First and goal. All the heavyweights. Morris gets the call. Morris is in.
There's a long way to go out there. Keep the intensity and stay alert. Know what the hell down it is, know what the situation is. Get in the huddle, get the call, and play hard.
Coach now left-hand side by Sanders. He cuts back again. Deep drop by Schrader. Schrader long way down for Clark. He's dropped the ball.
Washington's opportunities were few and vanished quickly. Neither their quarterback or their coach could stop the inexorable Giant assault that would send them down to defeat. The Redskins were a beaten team, the Giants Super Bowl bound. All that remained was the final gun, the glory, and the Gatorade.
The Giants are going to the Super Bowl. Some of the hardest hits of the afternoon as the Giants slam each other on the shoulders and head.
The Denver Broncos came to Super Bowl 21 hoping they would win. The New York Giants came knowing they would. The Giants had bullied and beaten opponents all year. After dominating the regular season and playoffs, nothing would stop Bill Parcells' team on Super Sunday. New York took an early 7-3 lead, but easy victory disappeared on the vapor trails made by John Elway's right arm. Elway's one-man show played center stage in the Giant end zone.
Motion to the right by Jackson. Elway's going to run in.
Denver reclaimed a 10-7 lead, but the Bronco fans saw the silver lining in this Super Bowl disappear when the Giant defense began to pound on their golden boy. the safety was worth more than 2 points, as it marked Denver's demise and the beginning of Giant superiority. In the first half, the Giants were characters in the story. In the second, they authored the script for Super Bowl 21. Mark Bavaro's touchdown began an onslaught of Giant points.
McConkey comes in motion to the right-hand side. Pitch. Forrester turns around back to Sims on the flea flicker. Sims is looking way downfield. He's got a receiver. Complete. Down to the 10. 5. Touchdown, I believe. I know they got marking at the 1. Here we go. 1 yard needed for a touchdown. Handoff. Morris is going to get it. It was like Katie by the door.
In a dazzling performance that made history, game MVP Phil Simms picked Denver apart. The Giants scored 30 second-half points to set a Super Bowl record. Phil McConkey's touchdown was not the official end of Super Bowl 21, but the official start of the victory celebration and the coronation of the New York Giants as champions of the world. The tough guy Giants. A pick and shovel team. Blue-collar champions. Boys at heart, but giants among men.